Today our guests are Election Monitoring and Democracy Training Center Anar Mammadli and Institute for Reporters Freedom and Safety Chairman Emin Huseynov. Welcome to our studio. Thank you. Today we'll discuss Black Smear campaign. As the elections are approaching, the smear campaign is growing. Press outlets and TV channels are continuing smear campaign. What do you think about the Black Smear campaign during election process? We touched upon this issue 2 weeks ago in our special report about monitoring of electronic mass media. We unveiled the analysis of the electronic mass media outlets. We revealed a clear smear campaign against the opposition. One of the claims is that in case the opposition comes to power, they will sign an agreement on Karabakh which is not in the favor of Azerbaijan. Another example is that the leader TV channel aired a program about the sex video of Azerbaijani director and used it against the whole opposition. Namely, it was an announcement rather than a program. An interesting point is that in the announcement they claimed that they couldn't air this video because it contradicted the Azerbaijani mentality, culture or traditions. However, 2 days ago, the same TV channel aired the illegally and secretly recorded this sex video at about 7:30 p.m. It's of course inadmissible. What do you think about the Black Smear campaign in Azerbaijani mass media? The problem is that these problems don't receive harsh reaction by the community and the various organizations. These problems can be approached from 3 perspectives: political, moral and legal. The legal side of this issue is that dissemination of these scenes which interfere in the personal life of a person is forbidden by the international conventions joined by Azerbaijan and also the Azerbaijan constitution. The moral context is that the whole society becomes the victim of this moral terror. And the political side of this issue is that the issue is politicized and this issue is used against the political organization or agency to which this person is affiliated. You mentioned the legal sides of this issue. I think the press council or the National Television and Radio Council should deal with this issue. I remember that an explicit scene was aired in the INS TV channel, and at that time it sparked a great reaction. The TV channels and mass media outlets broadly criticized it. The National TV and Radio Council harshly warned the TV channel. Actually, these agencies are not independent, they serve government, and they take measures when the government needs it. If the Press Council and the National TV and Radio Council were independent, they would have taken necessary measures against this TV channel. And it cannot be regarded as a component of freedom of expression because it clearly aired porn scenes. It is inadmissible in the US and EU countries. And it first shows how non-professional is the TV channel. It's also inadmissible to use this as a tool to disseminate wrong information to the society. And if it had happened in these countries of course would have taken necessary measures and prevented it. And the only activities of these organizations include closing of the foreign radio stations, restriction of liberties, and it always turns a blind eye to this issue. The issue is an interference in the private life of a person. But we also don't support it's true that we don't support this action committed by one of the leaders of the Azerbaijan's one of the biggest newspapers like Azalik newspaper, which advocates morality, democracy in the country. But the point is that it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable that these sexual scenes are broadcast in the prime time and enter their families, the houses of families with children. What can you say about the moral consequences of this issue? The sex is not banned in Azerbaijan. The people can live their private life in the way they want. They can only report these facts to their close circles, to their close relatives. It is not my business or your business or anyone's business to interfere in private life of a person. We have no right to do this. The legislation doesn't grant us such a right either. This video was secretly recorded and disseminated without the same person's awareness. Of course, this is a violation of law. The second issue is that the broadcasting of such a video at 7 o'clock during the prime time is not only a violation of Azerbaijan legislation, but it's also interference in our family. Nobody could wish to see all of a sudden this video on their TV, because we are always trying to protect our family, our children from this kind of scenes, because it exerts an adverse effect on the psychology and morality of the people. In 2009 referendum, they changed the Azerbaijan constitution and determined that the interference in the private life of the people are inadmissible. When the journalists try to take the photos or videos of the houses, the luxurious houses of the ministers, this law is obeyed. They prevent journalists from doing this. But as the person in question is the oppositional and related to the opposition newspaper, this was used against the whole opposition. This channel is so immoral, and it indicates the culture of the ruling authorities as well, because namely, for example, the director of Azalik newspaper, Anar Mammadli, is a public figure, but the women in the scenes is not a public figure, and after these scenes, maybe she will commit a suicide. It's a moral terror. If the authorities don't take necessary measure on this issue, it will have a negative effect on the national values. They always speak of national values, but it's a blow on the national values. National TV and Radio Council and the political sides don't comment on this, and it's understandable because it's in their favor. But there are also non-governmental organizations. For example, you can appeal to the courts and even to the European Court of Human Rights for this issue. You can file a lawsuit against the National TV and Radio Council for this impunity. The main function of our organization is to protect, to defend the journalists and media outlets. But in Azerbaijan there are a number of political organizations which can file lawsuits against these organizations and even gain success. But our function doesn't allow us to carry out this task. Thank you for coming to our studio. Today our guests were Institute for Reporters Freedom and Safety Chairman Emin Huseynov and the Election Monitoring and Democracy Training Center, Anar Mammadli.
Sağ olun.